What's up, everyone? Michael Heath with Get Automating. Do you have a favorite time of the day to go out to eat? Well, breakfast, lunch, dinner. For me, it's breakfast. When I'm in Somerset, New Jersey, there's a place called the Corner Cafe and Grill. They got menu items like the fat pig, the running bucket, the grease trap. And so I'm up at the counter and I said, hey, tell me about that fat doobie. And she responds, well, it's a burrito, of course.
Get Automating, enhancing humans daily.
So, breakfast joints aside, I love food. Surprisingly, though, I don't have an app to keep track of my recipes. So that's exactly what we're going to explore today. How easy it is to take data from SharePoint and create a Power App. Let's take a look. All right, so the first thing we're going to want is a spot for our data to live. So we're using SharePoint here. The most logical step is a SharePoint list. Now, we can go through and create all the different fields that we want to create, but for simplicity, we're actually just going to use this recipe tracker right here. It shows us all the columns that are included, and this will work just fine. We can expand on that as need be. So we're going to use that template. We're going to leave it as the default name, and we're going to create it. All right, so now we need to get this over to a Power App. There's two ways to do this, good and better. So that's coming in here, integrate Power Apps, create an app. We have our app. It's in mobile format. We can change that. But the biggest glaring issue I see is that it puts this in the default environment. This one's been renamed Personal Productivity, but more often than not, we don't want it to live in the default environment. This is good for testing. This is good for just kind of toying around, but ultimately, we do want that to exist in the right environment. Now, that being said, we can absolutely export this out as a solution when the time comes and get that over to a new environment. But that creates an extra step. Instead, we're going to kick it over to Power Apps. Notice I changed my environment already. No longer in the Personal Productivity. So I'm doing my work in my dev environment, which is where I want to be. I'm over here on the Create tab. I'm going to click SharePoint, make a new connection, point it to the development site, and grab the recipe tracker list, click Connect. All right, so here we have our app. It should look familiar, but notice our environment has changed. So we started off, we have a browse screen here where we can view all the records submitted. We can dig down a little deeper, get the record information, and then of course our edit screen to add the new record. Now, before we test this one out, we're going to come over here, change a few things. One, for the browse gallery, I just want image and title. So we're going to select that. That's going to indicate what we're going to display in the record viewing. Then we're going to come down here to the edit page and understand that there is no submit button. So we need to get this thing submitted. Therefore, this form taking up the entire real estate, we're going to cut that back just a bit here. If we look at the height right here in size, we're just going to put minus 100. That looks good to me. We're going to go ahead and insert a button. I'm going to drag that guy down here. There we are. Let's go ahead and rename that. Submit. Boom. And now we'll hook up some functionality. On select. And then we're going to point it to edit form 1. So that should lock us up pretty nicely to submit this bad boy. Let's go test it out. So here we are. Play. Add in here. Title. Spicy pork. Right. And this is an entree. And you know what? It's also a favorite. We're going to go ahead and upload our spicy pork image, something to make often with spicy smoked pork. Got to try that. Hit me up for the recipe. Have we tried it? Absolutely. No link, no attachments. We're going to go ahead and submit. And within lock, boom. Here it is, spicy pork. We can see the fields. It's not pretty, but it gets us started. And checking on our SharePoint site, we absolutely have our spicy pork record. All right, so whether it's food or whether it's business, there's an app for that. And it's so simple to go from a SharePoint list into Power Apps and get 90% of the way there with very little effort. So get out there and get automating.